Oh yeah, I just couldn't contain myself. I went on the air and I said, "This is wrong."
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm happy for the people who won, but what are they thinking? And it's like this year, giving it to Roman Polanski. I mean, we're in this war and we're rewarding the fugitive.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
What are they thinking?
You know, it's funny, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, it was the first thing I thought of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what a signal this sends to the rest of the world, and and especially now at this particular time.
Take your time. We're gonna take.
I don't have gum.
Oh, I don't have gum.
Okay. All right, it's fine.
I'll hold this one.
It's like
No, you know what I think? I have what feels like a seed from lunch in my teeth. Oh, no, I'm fine.
that is the worst feeling, isn't it, to have seeds?
Yeah.
And I eat a lot of fruit, so I.
Just had one. It's probably
Okay, okay, and the hall door is closed, is it?
Yes, I would do not disturb.
Okay, thanks. All right. I never know whether I should properly call you Ed or Edward. Which do you prefer?
Prefer Ed, but professionally I need, not for interviews, but for films I need to be called Edward because, do you remember the actor Ed Kooky Burns from
Yes.
a television show? In the Actors Union, he has Ed Burns, so I have to be Edward Burns. So there's no confusion with residual checks and things like that. So
Even though he spelled.
even though it's spelled differently. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Ed, thank you for coming to
Thank you.
Dallas. I have to tell you that I didn't know what to expect when I went to see Confidence, and I was just carried along and transported from scene to scene to scene.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting in that it's a con movie, and I don't know people who are fans of sort of the con or high genre really latch on to that part of it, but other people, the con is incidental because the characters are so interesting. You're more interested in the dynamic of watching these people double cross one another or connect or lie or do whatever it is they're doing on the way to the con. So
I understand that the producer and the director, when they were getting this together, and your character, the con man, one of the con men, they thought, we need Ed Burns. And I wondered if somebody came to me and said, we needed somebody who, and the first con man we thought of was you.
Yeah,
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
I hadn't heard that. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why they thought that. Well, because it's funny. This is the first part I've played where I think, I brought no part of my personality to this guy. I mean, I think everything I've done in the past, I've almost played a variation on myself. Even in Saving Private Ryan, it was a big part of my personality in that character's personality. This is a part where, I have no connection to this guy. And which was a lot of fun as an actor to be able to slip into that skin and to play, Jake Vig for 35 days, who's, cool and confident and always says the right thing, was a lot of fun, but so far from who I am.
So you've never conned anybody?
No, I've been conned. When I was 14 years old, me and a bunch of my friends took the train into Manhattan to try and get fake ID, and we were each conned out of about $50 on 42nd Street. So that's a long, convoluted story, but I learned my lesson at 14.
There are critics and writers and reporters who are saying that this is your best performance ever. Do you feel that it is?
I think hands down, easily, and I think I think there's a couple of different reasons. I think one is, when you work with a Tom Hanks and then a Robert De Niro, if you're smart, you're going to watch those guys, talk to those guys, and learn from those guys. And I equate acting sometimes to athletics, that a lot of times you'll play up to the level of the competition you're playing against, but also the better the guys you play against, the better you're going to become. So I think that, I've done, I think this is like my 10th movie or something like that. I can feel I'm getting better with each film. The other thing is, since this is the first film where I'm the lead, I decided going into production that I wasn't going to be writing a screenplay at the same time. Usually when there's a break, I'm in my trailer working on a script. This time I said, I want to approach this with the same single-minded focus I have when I'm writing and directing. And when I see the film, I can see that kind of focus and a different level of hard work paid off. So let's hope I keep it up, though.
Let's talk about Dustin Hoffman, because when we first see him on the screen, and I have to be honest with you, I thought, what a smarmy character.
Yeah.
Not only should we hose him down, we should disinfect him. I mean, that was my reaction. And I know Dustin for many years, and I know from other actors and directors that he just asks a million questions and goes over and over and over, and sometimes for people it becomes tedious to work with him. Now, what was your experience working with Dustin?
It's funny, I love Dustin, and not only is he the greatest storyteller I've ever met, but he has more passion and enthusiasm for acting than anyone I've ever met. And I had heard some of those stories too, but for us it was a very different experience. It was all about trying to make each scene as good as it can be. And Dustin's character originally was written for a 300-pound New York mafioso. And when the story was changed from New York to Los Angeles for budgetary reasons, they started to think of going in a different way. So when Dustin signed on, he had to basically take that part, which was written for a big, physically imposing character, and now make it work for him. So that creepy thing you're talking about, and that sort of his physicality with me, was all Dustin's work during rehearsals, and the rehearsals were filled with a lot of improv, and just slowly finding the character. And for me as a young actor, to watch that process was amazing, but also see, you're talking about all the questions he asks and how tenacious he is. It was great to see an actor with that kind of tenacity, that it is that important to really figure out who your character is.
And was it his idea to do the makeup the way it is? Didn't he stain his teeth or something? They looked like they were stained. Really?
I don't know.
And the chewing of the gum.
The chewing of the gum was all him. The hair being spiked and the wardrobe. We rehearsed probably a couple of weekends before we started to shoot. So each day you'd see him, you'd see he's added another layer to this character. And there's all these little moments in our scenes that came from moments of conversation we had about other things. He would tell you a story about something that happened on the set of Midnight Cowboy, and somehow that would trigger a thought about something he can do in the scene, and then he would try that in a rehearsal, and then it ends up in the finished film. So it's like when he's working, everything he's doing, even if he's talking about something else, is about the work. So
Well, he's extraordinary, and
Yeah.
I love him. I don't know, I've never worked with him, so, but the stories I've heard. Let's see. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about this next film that you're going to do, Sound of Thunder?
Yeah, Sound of Thunder, we shot that last fall in Prague. It's a big science fiction film based on Raymond Bradbury's short story. It's set in the year 2040 and involves time travel back to the prehistoric dinosaur age. And it's a crazy big science fiction time travel film. So I spent 4 months standing in front of a blue screen reacting to nothing. And the film, I won't even be able to see any of it for another, I think, 10 months. So I have no idea what this film looks like.
And
You couldn't go see the dailies and see, what it looked like.
who is the director?
A guy named Peter Hyams directed it.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Kingsley is in the cast. And so it was another opportunity for me to work with another legend, another guy that I can sit there for a couple of weeks and pick his brain and try and learn as much as I can.
And then when will we see the next Edward Burns written and directed by?
I think I may do one this summer. I'm finishing up the script now, so if I finish it in time, it has to be shot in the summer, this particular film. So it really depends. If I get the script done, then I'll probably go into pre-production shortly. If I'm not happy with the script, I may take an acting job and wait till directed till next spring.
And your script, is it action or a little
No, it's
story?
it's kind of my world in a way, but it's, I've done 5 now for a combined budget of $11 million. And quite honestly, I can't do it again. I need to work with a substantial budget. So this story is the most mainstream thing I've written to date.
Well, we'll look forward to that. And Ed, thank you again for coming to Dallas. And good luck with Confidence, because it's a picture that I think it's good escapism, and the acting is wonderful. All the characters, I think, are just top drawer.
Yeah.
And as I told you, it just kept me going. And right at the end, I'm going, what? What? Good ending.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Now he's going to have to go around. So I said, well, would you work with him again? And he said, not anytime soon. He
Really?
said it on camera.
Wow.
Not anytime soon.
Another journalist mentioned to me the fact that he and Sidney Pollack were really butting heads on that film.
Yeah, yeah. And there again, see, Sidney was playing a role as well as directing,
yeah.
and they got way behind budget. Well, the first, I guess from the first week they were way behind budget, way behind time. Had so much trouble with the makeup. And then Dustin got to the place where his face was breaking out, and the doctors said I think it was every 3rd day, he has to go without makeup so we can medicate him
Okay.
and get his skin back in shape. And
Such a good movie, though, huh?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's one of those
And I
things-
thought he pulled it off fantastically. Yeah.
But,
Okay.
right.
All right.
Don't
so
you think, though, I'll interrupt you, Aaron Brown, the
Yeah.
CNN
Yes,
anchor,
yes.
does he remind you of Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie?
Start to answer, and I'll just
Yeah,
wave
yeah,
you
yeah.
off. Okay. So many critics are saying that this is your best performance ever. Do you think it is?
I agree with all those critics. I really think, this is the film that
That's fine. Okay.
You're not going to use any of my smart
no,
alecky
we've
stuff,
already
okay.
no, we've already done. It's
Yeah.
just to get
Yeah.
your head moving for the edit, as you well know. Okay. Best performance. Okay. I'm told that the producer and the director, when they were wanting to cast this role, said we need a charming con man. And Ed Burns, that's who we need. Now, what was your reaction to that?
I had never, I didn't hear that story before, so I don't really know.
Okay, very good. You okay, Mike? Okay. So you've never conned anybody?
No, I personally haven't, but when I was 14, I was once the victim of a con.
Okay, all right. The stories are legends about Dustin Hoffman, about he can be very difficult to work with, asking 1,000 questions before each shot. Did you find him to be that way?
No, I absolutely just love Dustin.
Okay, all right. Let's see, where do we go from here? Okay, all right. What can you tell us about your next film, Sound of Thunder?
Sound of Thunder is based on a Ray Bradbury pretty famous short story.
Okay. When will we see another film written and directed by Edward Burns?
Hopefully this summer I'll get to work on one.
Is this going to be an action story, big story, little story, what?
I'll be more sort of the world that I'm usually writing about, but my most mainstream film to date.
Okay. I think that'll get it.
All right.
Wonderful.